Dear Reverend Ed Trevors, yeah, it's me again. We were John City, Roseman, California, the west coast of the United States. Yeah, I had to send some texts out to you on this one, pal, regarding the changes in your criminal law. I was trying to make some kind of clarification in the text. I may have gotten that confused a little bit because when I was hearing the numbers, I was typing them into Google and I found out they were talking about other things. I'm thinking, wait a second, they're going to be changing Social Security and old age retirement, but they were talking about hate speech. I had to do a little further digging and did cross referencing and cross checking. Okay, criminal code. That makes sense. Private messengers, law, or something like that. Add a click, copy, paste, research. Then I was getting the gist of it after that, what you were talking about. Okay, yeah, guess what? Right winging, what we call it out here in the States, nut jobs, want to rule the world with hatred, fear, and think they're doing the Roman Empire revisited. When you read the stories, did you also understood the time period when Jesus was in? Did you understand that Judaism wasn't exactly popular in those days, not even among the Arabs, but they still dealt with them anyway? But then you got the conquering emperor, the empire of the Romans, marching through, and they have a different viewpoint too. Well, we'll tolerate Judea from, you know, we'll tolerate their religious beliefs to a point. But if they're going to be crossing into our own laws and our own beliefs concerning about what our laws are supposed to be, then we have an issue. You see, in the Roman Empire, Caesar is God. Deal with that one. However, this sliced my thumb too much on this one here. Centurion, that's a fine sword. It nearly sliced off my thumb here. We of the Roman Empire, Reverend Trevors, take great offense among our own imperial beliefs. You see, there's only one divinity here, and that is Caesar that we have in Rome. And you will not see or speak anything about him. We do not care enough about you Judeans. We don't care about your medieval, actually your ancient ways of believing in things. Your version of God may not be here, but according to the Roman Empire, there's only one God, only one divinity, so how dare you do that? And don't you know, this is the 21st century, and the empire still is building its strength, and that divinity is Donald Trump. Now, the Roman Empire is us right wingers out here, sir. And we will spread our empire throughout the world. We are the Terran Empire. We will force you to believe in what we believe in. We will change and coerce your government officials one way or another to either believe in what we believe in or else. There is no freedom in Canada at this point or in the so-called United States except it's the states of Trump. You do not understand this. And because this is the Roman Empire revisited, you will not say or speak of these things ever again because we, the megalomania, egomaniacs at this point over here and everything else that goes under the sun, we dictated it. We stated it. It is done. Yeah, my neck really creaked on that one here too, trying to do some kind of weird ass personification here. I don't know how the hell Jesus would deal with it right now. To tell you the truth, I mean, honestly, he tried to tolerate it back then if we actually read the scriptures correctly on this. These are our only ways of understanding what happened back then. And I know some professors at my community college will look at this stuff as not just as holy scriptures, but as historical documents. So I have to look at it there from a critical thinking point. I'm not gonna make fun of anything and everything else, and I'll do this on what I had to. Well, when it comes down for Christ, no, I don't make fun of that guy. No way. No. Besides, I would have to deal with the consequences upstairs, and I'm not ready for that one yet. No, I'm still going to make my amends on that one. But we are dealing with government systems who are trying to change and adapt to the ways of the right-wing thinking. And I'm sorry, I'm a libtard over here. I'm a woke person. I'm a Democrat. I'm a liberal. What can you say? And yes, I don't think Jesus would have approved on this damn thing, but I don't know what he would comprehend if he actually had been doing a visitation in our timeline, other than being resurrected from the dead in the past, but comes out here just to check on and give a status report to God regarding it. I think about that on some occasions. So let me give you my little bit of interpretation at this point over here. Jesus comes down here, and he's already growing up as a kid, and he's already growing up as a young man. Maybe he's in his about his, no, in his 30s at this point. He's already missed a hell of a lot of actions happening in the past few, since he's passed away. But if he's been watching from heaven and comes down here just to get another feel of what's going on, he's going to be scratching his head at the angels and saying, they're doing all this in my name. It was bad enough when we had the Holy Crusades and it did it in my name. We had holy pontiffs doing this in my name. Going out and skull thumping people left and right. And I don't understand how my father puts up with this. If we revert back over to the Old Testament, did he actually like things happening back then? Clearly, we didn't have anybody ready to skull thump people left and right, except if you're an empire. But I didn't see God striking back at the empires when they're building up their fiefdoms, their little kingdoms, their little empire, power control centers there. But all throughout the time right now, even if the angels were doing it, not just Jesus, or just maybe trying to give Jesus a head start on this one. I would imagine right now, Trev, forgive me, Rev, I would imagine that the angels are still doing field notes on this one, watching it closely, without us knowing about this. I wouldn't put it past them. I wouldn't put it past them of doing century-old reconnaissance and research left and right. Because how else is God going to understand everything? If God's supposed to understand everything, he's supposed to have accurate intelligence. And time difference between the ethereal and material is a hell of a lot different, let me tell you. So once he gets that information, they've already got eyes down here. They've already got eyes above looking down on us. They're scratching their heads in confusion about what's going on, what we're allowing, what we're not allowing. But the thing of it is, Reverend, human beings have free will. And because of that, we are subjugated to man's laws, no matter how screwed up they are. Or even to the religious whims of the nut jobs out there who claim that they represent God and Jesus, and therefore we have to celebrate them because they say so. No, we celebrate our religion. We worship God and Jesus in our own ways. Because right now, whatever the ways are changing, they're not the ways we grew up under. They're not under the things that we lived under. We didn't live in a paradise. There was always constant strife. But the thing is, we still had to hold on to what was special inside of us. And I'll tell you, that was a pain in the ass for me too. I grew up not understanding God one way or another. If I already told you about it in my other stories and my other videos, I died 3 times at a table, came back to life 3 times as a kid, 4 years old, open heart surgery. And yeah, it left me messed up mentally and spiritually at that point, if not physically. So yeah, I really had a hard relationship trying to understand God. Every time I kept hearing the pastors tell me about how wonderful God is supposed to be in this way, I had personal experience saying, well, he kicked me out of heaven 3 times. How the hell was I supposed to feel about that damn thing? I kept saying it was not time. I wanted to stay upstairs. I didn't have the time. I didn't have the perspective. I didn't have the understanding. I didn't have the maturity for this. I didn't understand a damn thing about it. Because I didn't have what I needed to understand it as I do right now. You have politicians who are catering to hate. We have politicians in the states of our country catering to hate. We're scratching our heads on how we're going to be able to deal with this on one or two sides, or many sides on this thing. You're worried about Jesus getting attacked on every side. Well, yeah, because he also came from a time when we didn't have mass communication, we didn't have the internet, we didn't have the technology like we have today. Instant brainwashing, instant brain boxing, instant. We didn't have that, Rev. There was nowhere in hell we had it or acknowledged it. We had a point of a sword. We had plowshares. We had landscapes all across uh, Europe, Asia, Africa, Middle East. And the only communication was word of mouth, no press. Except maybe if we're writing down scrolls left and right or reading scrolls. And maybe that was the only way. And it took weeks, days if not weeks, to get from point A to point B. Word of mouth. Compared to what today is, it's insane. But how does this change yours? With the advent of the modern communication technology we got right now, it's instantaneous. It's insane. But this is the time that we're living in right now, Rev. They're trying to make clarifications of hate in one speech is not punishable. Because enough action from religious folk of sorts made it clear one way or another. Either they get the politicians to change this damn thing or else. There had to have been a threat in there somewhere. Maybe blatant or maybe overt. Didn't matter. There was a reaction somewhere. Maybe a special group or something. Something had to change to force your politicians to make the changes they're making right now, which is what we're reacting to. Do I like it? I'm seeing the crap happening out here in my own country, in the states, in the counties, in the cities, in the communities. I'm hearing it. With the instant communications we got right now, they post stuff left and right. And unfortunately, you hadn't kept track of the technology, have you? I didn't think so. With the AI bots and the AI algorithms we got running our major platforms right now, it's no wonder we're getting more and more of nearly the same damn material. You talk about cyberpunk at the worst situation there. Lord. You talk about the AI robots. There was. I gotta go through the damn history again on this one. Been about a week or maybe a few days on this one. So I gotta research. I'm gonna research while you're here. I'm not hitting the pause button on this one. Because this damn thing really pisses me off. And I'm sorry for the language at this point over here. I'm going to be a real mouth at this point if I'm not careful. Because this really screws me over. I'm seeing so many things on YouTube right now that gives me more of an upset stomach than anything else these days. And it does. Majority Report earlier this morning. Title of this was "The Internet is Dying" / Ed Zitron / TMR. The Majority Report. This I will have to send you through the text of the link. I am going to get this right now. I am going to share this one with you. I am putting it on the same thing for the no more religious exemption for hate speech in Canada. I'm posting it in there. I'm slapping it. It's important. And you have to understand was a bigger ice than what you have right now. Sometimes it sucks. We have to focus on the little things that matter, but sometimes the bigger pictures would scare the crap out of you if you're still not able to handle that one. So I've already put the link in there. Because to me, I think it's important. It's important, Rev. How is this relatable? Keep an open mind on this one. You're working on the faith, and somehow I know you're a little bit you're a technocrat one way or another. So you have an ability to deal with technology, or try to handle on some of it anyway. I was brought up when the computer age was getting out there, when it came out for the mini and micro and mainframes out there, and the personal computers and the Game Boys. Yeah, I was born in the 60s, mid to late 60s. I was born in the space age. Saw the Apollo 11. I didn't understand what the hell I was watching out in the living room of our apartment out in North Hollywood, California. We're seeing something tremendous. I'm like, this kid. Didn't understand what I was watching. I know how to fear earthquakes. And doctors and medical staff and everything else. But I also grew up in a time where we started developing cell phones, where we started developing computers to be worked in offices, punch cards. I never worked on them. Worked on scantrons, paperwork in schools, written essays, electronic typewriters, Selectrics, and the other bigger monsters with little digital screens that you had to work with. Oh yeah. And AOL. Netscape. Networks. Computer games. Both handheld and the arcades. It didn't mean I was programming, I just know how to use the damn things. Programming, that's a different story altogether. You ever heard of an old program named BASIC? Atari 600s or Atari 800s, somewhere in those sequences. Used that kind of IBM programming to create things. I created stories. I was lousy at graphics, but I could tell you what stories. I could just type them in. But as long as I typed them in a certain fashion, it's supposed to have been algebra, right? Not quite. Well, this, and then that. And referred to this one over that one, but if this doesn't mean it, it's math I mean never mixed, even back then. But I could tell you stories. Still can these days, I think. And how is this dealing with what we have? In my head, I try to see things in different connections left and right. You're talking about World Wide Web in my head. I can draw up stuff that can make me depressed and cry like crazy and mourn my family like crazy because you died a long time ago, within the past 11 years. So yeah, I deal with the emotional impact. But then again, I have to deal with a lifetime. I'm only 58, so I've dealt with about, 54 years of pain, agony, and everything else held suppressed. And then last 11 years, everything else just went unzipped and basket case. But during those days, I'm still trying to keep up with the connections of the new technology they have versus the older technology I'm used to. How does this help with hate speech? You're not seeing the connections. How do we spread our ideas and idealisms? Communications. In what form and format? Pick one. We were used a long time ago of the printed page, of the Pony Express, of the U.S. Postal Service and the UPS. Different mail couriers, even FedEx. Maybe newsletters ending up on your post in your mailbox. Everything's instantaneous with the zeros and ones in the algorithms. In one form or another, it changes and mutates. It's like the rottenness we see these days. We complain about it. We try to fight everybody else. We keep pointing the fingers at everybody else. We don't even look at one thing in the mirror to take a look at ourselves. Reverend, accountability, transparency, responsibility. Tell me something, Reverend. Has anybody actually understood those three words? Think on it. Hard. I had to keep coming up with this. I had to keep thinking about this. I had to keep getting my ass kicked by this because it is what it is. I have to be aware of this. And if I'm not aware of it, it's going to kick my ass even further. And I have to hold myself accountable and transparent and responsible. If I'm going to be Christ's warrior or voice or something of a representative on this planet, I better be accountable, transparent, and accountable. Accountable, responsible, transparent. Okay. And honest. I have to be held to a higher standard. Which means if I have to be the voice or have to be a voice in the wilderness to go off on people, just like you do, you try to be easy and gentle in the situation. Unfortunately, I can't be that way. I was a long time ago. Holding my breath. But if maybe a few things would happen, maybe I'd write up a little bit of an article to a paper or something like that. But this, I am a nut job. I'm a fool, I'm an idiot. But that being said, God put me on this planet for some reason. He saved my ass. Maybe to satisfy my family. Because they didn't want to lose me on the operating table. My brother was 8 years older than I was. And he wrote the letter to the doctor, and the doctor gave it to Ma. She kept it all these years. And after Ma passed away, my brother and I looked through her personal stuff, found a letter my brother wrote. We had a major serious cry on this one. But after that, I didn't see my brother cry after that. After I've lost a lot of them, yeah, I did. I was broken and still am. I deal with it on my channel on a basis. Why do you think I have the diary of the graver named John Wee on the damn thing? It's supposed to be John Weaver. And I deal with, besides the politics, what's happening right now, what you're talking about, and religious aspects on some occasions. I deal primarily with my own mental health and my spiritual issues, dealing with mourning, grieving, things that people generally don't talk about except hidden in different chat groups. I'm talking about it out and open here. If there was going to be any chance of me losing my sanity in any way, shape, or form, there has to be a record on this damn thing. I've seen too many people not say or do anything about it. But for me, I'm doing it for my own personal thing here because I want to be part of posterity here. If it's a way of living immortal, so be it. As long as the zeros and ones and the information is still held in the flash drives and not fried to a crisp one way or another by electromagnetism. And EMP pulse will fry the things out. Science, technology, whatever will fry it out. And there goes my life. I'll be like shadows and dust. And how do you put shadows and dust? How do you do that to hate speech? I hold people accountable, Reverend. I keep telling the people in the United States, it's up to the voters. And I blame the voters for allowing this stuff to happen because they got the power to change it, but they don't. I'm not trying to do a Donald Trump at this point over here. I'm not trying to be a leader. I'm just saying observations at this point over here. But in one way or another, maybe I am shaping something out there or someone. And sometimes that scares the hell out of me. But if this is what I have to do, if this is what I'm called for doing, I don't know if I'm called for it or not. I don't even know what the calling was in the first place. I thought I was supposed to be writing stories. And then life happened. And different things took place instead of book writing. And I was writing about books and angels and God. I can't go any further than that. But it mattered to me because those characters are still alive in here and in here. And sometimes they scream at me in the middle of the night. Or sometimes they just wait and just see if there's an opportunity to get to my head. Say, well, we're going back into the stories or what, John? And after seeing politics these days, I don't know if I'm on a kick for God or if I'm on a kick for my own damn ego. But what I'm seeing and hearing these days, it's pissing me off. And if I'm motivated, God help me. They talk about the highway to hell. Welcome to my hell. It's only going to get worse. Talk at you, Reverend. Talk at you later.